Now we're going to look at the basic position of side control. I'm going to teach you how to control, dominate your opponent, and then how to transition into a very basic submission. When controlling in side control, it's important that I choose the control that's going to best suit my needs. If I'm looking to strike, do MMA, maybe I come out up on the knees. If I'm looking to transition, I might sit up into that reverse case katami or control up here, maybe go into scarf hold. None of them are better than the other. It just depends on what your goals are. Today I'm going to show you how to dominate. What we're going to do is we're going to divide his body into fourths. I call this the one pec theory. The nearest pec is the only one that I control. I never want my center line to go over the center line of my opponent. Some of us think that we have good control when we come up here to this chest over chest and you're driving the shoulder into the face. But if you can see, my center line is over his center line and this is going to run into problems, especially if he's got good hip movement. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that alligator control when I control just this one pec. A lot of you are going to be like, oh, he doesn't have good control, but I have great control. I got good domination of the hips so he can't bring his legs back in. And if he tries to move away, I have all the pushing power that I need while keeping my base nice and low. That's what we want. So I'm going to come under here. I'm going to come thumb to face. This isn't that shoulder adjustment, where you drive that shoulder into the face, crank the face. This isn't it, guys. This hand loosely comes under here, gets thumb in the collar. Now I'm going to come, pelvis down. My hand's going to come over here on the floor. I'm going to turn my hip. If he starts to move away from me, I follow him, and I follow him. He's never going to be able to get away from me. If he just gets really frisky and he creates problems, man, I'll grab a hold of those pant legs, I'll give him hell. I can hold that for 30 seconds till he's done fighting. Then I'm going to look into transitioning to submission. All right, so let's look at what happens after I've got that domination and I'm looking to submit. I've got my alligator control. Thumb in the collar, I'm all the way down. Well, now I want to move into that paper cutter submission. When I start to move into the paper cutter, it's important that I keep my weight on Marty at all times. I'm going to roll up on my shoulder here. Some people that I teach this to, they try to keep their weight on their knees and they have their hip on the ground. Guys, if you do that, you don't have any domination over your partner. He's going to get up, go away, and make your day back. All right? So we come in here. I want to start the transition. This hand is under here where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to move and I'm going to lift his body up. Again, anytime we can lift his head, his shoulders off the ground, we're going to cut off that hip movement. I'm going to use this opportunity when his hip is off the floor to reach this hand underneath and get a hold of that collar. Notice, guys, my hips aren't on the floor. This is trash. You might as well not even do the submission, guys. This, bad. This, good. You want that shoulder nice and tight. This is going to be uncomfortable for him. It's going to give you the opportunity to start reaching this thumb into the collar. This thumb into the collar. Once I get that thumb into the collar, you get a good, nice, deep bite. Notice I go in thumb first. A lot of people try to grab over here. If I get my thumb in first, close my hand, then turn it down, you're going to get an extra 4 inches on your choke. It's something that people miss. So I come here, I'm going to switch my base into reverse case of katami, and I'm going to drop that elbow on this side. This should feel like the hammer of God coming down on you. If your head doesn't feel like you're going to pop off and you immediately tap, this submission doesn't get any tighter unless you go back and readjust your grips. The cat's out of the bag, they know what's happening, is probably not going to have a lot of success. It's imperative that you get this submission on the first time through, or you're not going to get it. It's time to transition to something else. Let's look at it again from that same angle. I'm alligator position, thumb behind the collar, thumb at the hip. I'm going to start to switch. I lift his head up, I reach that hand underneath. Now, this hand that's underneath, guys, look, it's grabbing that collar, nice and tight. Shoulder on him, that thumb goes into the collar. I turn that fist down, and I'm going to reverse sit. Notice I'm still holding on to that collar with that reverse grip. Let's look at it from a different angle so you can really see that hand. I'm alligator position. That's awesome. I start to lift him up, and I reach under with this hand. Beat it if you have to. That's okay. Again, my hip's not on the floor. Nice and tight. I reach this hand in, the thumb in first. Close my hand, turn that thumb up after you get the grip. Here to here. 1, 2. Now watch my feet. I switch and I drop that elbow. You want to come all the way into other things. Like I said, there's no going back to readjust that grip, guys. It's going to be really tough. First time or no time.